Hey YouTube, Devin here with Comics and Stuff. Happy Tuesday. Once again, late post. I apologize. Hope everybody has been doing okay and enjoyed the last week or so. Here I am. I'm ready to do my video today. It is going to be a brief history of Dark Horse Comics. I know I haven't done one of these brief history videos in a while, and I had a couple people request it, and you know, Dark Horse is one of my favorite companies. They do Hellboy. They have done some you know, Planet of the Apes stuff, and they also do the Alien and Predator and Engineer, that whole like Xenoverse sort of stuff. So I absolutely love Dark Horse Comics, and I'm really excited to dive into it and give you kind of the literal brief history, because it's only been around since the 80s. But I want to touch on something really quickly before I do. Some of you guys who know me know that I'm very, very strongly against this sort of thing, but online harassment, I wanted to quickly make a quick point about this. I had to block somebody from the channel earlier this week. Those of you who comment on my videos, you know that I am pretty rapid at responding to you guys, because I always have my phone in my pocket. My phone is cued to notify me whenever anybody you know, comments on one of my videos, and I always do my best to absolutely, as fast as possible, respond to you. I'm not going to be petty and name names or, you know, try to prove that I'm right or anything like that, but I just want to talk. I had a gentleman earlier this week, and he didn't like that we disagreed, and decided to start calling me names and telling me that I'm a prick, and, you know, telling me that I started talking about how everybody from where I'm from, which is Seattle, Washington, is a prick. And it's just really rude, because we had differing opinions, and, you know, that comment's been deleted and that user has been blocked. But this channel is not for harassment. If you want to have a healthy discussion, I'm always up for that. I'm always up for talking about differing opinions within the comic book community and within the comic book world. You know, I will always be up and ready to, of course, defend my DC, even though, you know, it's stagnant and old, as some people will say. But, you know, this is not the type of place to start calling people names. You'll never catch me calling anybody a name, being rude to anybody. I will always do my best to be kind, cordial, polite, and I expect my followers and subscribers to do the same, because we're all adults here and we can all talk and, you know, not be rude. And if you decide that you want to start calling me names or harassing, you know, anybody else besides myself, and I believe me, I will see it, you're going to get blocked. So please, everybody, conduct yourselves like as you would in real life, unless you're a jerk in real life, in which case pretend to be really nice. And yeah, that's really it. So thanks for listening to me on that, guys. Let's talk about Dark Horse Comics. So Dark Horse Comics opened up in the 1980s. It was started by a fella named Mike Richardson. He opened actually a place called Pegasus Comics in Bend, Oregon, with a credit card that had like a $2,500 limit. And I don't know what that translates to in today's dollars, but $2,500 was, I guess, a heck of a lot back in the 1980s. Pegasus Comics, it would go on to become Things from Another World, which I didn't know this until I was researching this, but Things from Another World and Dark Horse are one and the same, but in any case, I digress. Now, Things from Another World has also become one of the largest, not the largest, but one of the largest comic book retailers in the country, so that's pretty cool. 1986, you know, Mike Richardson was frustrated, I guess, with the quality of the books he was getting into Pegasus Comics, and so he opened Dark Horse Comics as like an offshoot from Things from Another World, and then started doing that. Because, here, you know, I'm going to move my notes to right here so I don't keep looking off screen. Now, because Dark Horse Comics classified writers and creators as partners and not as employees, many people flocked to Dark Horse from all over the industry. So, and that was like unprecedented. So that's, you know, at the time, this was before the time of like Image. You know, people didn't normally leave Marvel or DC for a new upstart company like that. So that was pretty awesome when he opened it up and they treated you know, any of their creators as partners. The first title from Dark Horse Comics was called Dark Horse Presents #1, obviously. And Dark Horse Presents, the series, actually saw the first appearance of Xenomorphs in comic book form. So Xenomorphs, you don't know, Alien versus Predator, Aliens, Predators, they're aliens. Those are Xenomorphs. So Dark Horse Comics saw the first appearance of those in comic books. And then they also published their first manga, which was Godzilla, King of the Monsters in 1987. And it did so well that it published many more manga. It has up to today. And Mike Richardson regularly travels to Japan, you know, still up to this day because of that, finding new mangaka and, you know, bringing new mangas to the US. Moving on to the 1990s, Dark Horse Comics solidified its presence as an industry leader by acquiring the license to publish Star Wars comics, Aliens and Predator comics, and then Conan the Barbarian as well. Oh, and they also did Buffy the Vampire Slayer. That's one other. They also did a lot more, but those were some of their most prominent titles. I loved the Dark Horse Star Wars run. I used to be a total Star Wars purist, and be like, I wanted the EU to stay, and Disney wiped the slate clean, and unhappy, but hey, it's okay. Star Wars comics from Dark Horse, now even though they're considered legends, they had amassed, like I said, a cult-like following with devout fans. They refuse, some still do refuse to recognize the new Disney canon, and these books have literally also become legends. They're very expensive to buy to get original Dark Horse comics that are Star Wars. I have my originals that I got from the early 2000s. My very first comic book, as many of you guys know, was actually a Dark Horse Star Wars comic. It was Outlander #6, the Dynamic Forces foil variant edition. I have it graded and everything, and I still have it to this day. Now, one quick, and then by now, so by the end of the 90s, Dark Horse's manga division had become like an industry standard and published titles such as like Astro Boy and Wolf Cub. And then here we go. In 1994, Dark Horse publishes. Oh, here we go. Yeah, 1994, Dark Horse published Mike Mignola's Hellboy: Seed of Destruction #1, which led to one of the most successful comic book franchises ever. Now, this is all relative. Obviously, this is not Marvel Comics, but at the time, one of the most successful comic book franchises ever. 2000s, Hellboy gets a franchise. He gets 2 movies. He gets 3 animated films. His comic book series is still going to this day. So that's like 20 plus years that Mike Mignola has been doing Hellboy stuff. And then 2007, Dark Horse has started working with Joss Whedon to produce a Buffy the Vampire Slayer comic series along with the season 8 of the show. So that they kind of like worked in conjunction. So I think that created some form of precedence for people to buy, or incentive, there we go, that's the word, incentive for people to purchase the comics as well. So, and I believe that worked out fine. And then here's a really cool one. My Chemical Romance frontman Gerard Way created the Umbrella Academy, and it became a huge financial success because both comic book fans and MCR, or My Chemical Romance fans, all went and bought the book. And he still created a couple other books and created a few other characters. I think he also did work for like Batman or something like that. But I'm not sure. But it's really cool that like a new rock, like are they new rock or are they emo rock? I don't remember. But anyways, a rock band singer also wrote comic books. That's just cool. I've read Umbrella Academy. I really enjoy it, and I believe that they're also getting a TV series soon. So, hey. And then coming up to the 2010s, which is where we are now, in January 2013, Dark Horse's biggest month ever was when Brian Wood released his Star Wars main series title, and it became one of the best-selling Star Wars comics in the company's history. And then 2 years later, they lost out to Disney, so Disney took the license back in 2015. And then 2016 was their 30th anniversary, which was amazing, and now it's 2018, and they're still going strong. So that is a brief history of Dark Horse Comics. So thank you guys so much for sitting with me these 8.5 long minutes. If you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, if I did something, if I said something wrong, please let me know in the comments below so I can do better next time. Thank you guys for letting me talk about online harassment at the beginning of the video and listening. I appreciate that, and I will see you guys on Saturday.